What's up, guys? Jacoborth back here with another video of Jacob's Life in Vegas, talking about Uber and Lyft stories. And I got one to tell you. This was not so much a funny one. It's actually a little more of, I guess, a sentimental one, if you want to say, or more of a heartfelt one. So I'll tell you the story in a second. But remember, guys, you're going to drive out here for Uber and Lyft in Las Vegas. There's an ebook where the link, you can get it right below this video, the ebook that I wrote myself about driving here in Las Vegas for Uber and Lyft and how to make money. I tell you what times of day I like to drive, what parts of town I like to drive, where I like to stage and park at if I'm not getting any rides, all things to try to help you guys make more money when you're driving for Uber and Lyft in Las Vegas. Now this story, I said a lot of the ones I've told have been kind of like funny or just kind of weird ones or whatever the case is of people I've picked up. This one's actually, why is it being really sweet? It was, I remember it was towards the end of the day I was driving. I'm ready to go home. I'm like, all right, I'm just kind of cruising around. Like, I'll do one last ride. And I pick up this lady at the Mandalay Bay. And, yeah, I'll call her Debbie. And she was, I go to pick her up. She's there waiting by herself. And I see her, and it's a little lady, like little old lady. I mean, you know, to give you guys a description of her, she's barely over 5 feet tall. White lady, blonde hair. I mean, I looked at her, I mean, and she was older, but the other thing that struck my how little she was, she had a bunch of luggage with her. I mean, she had a suitcase that was damn near as tall as she was. So I parked, got out of the car, put her suitcase in the trunk. She had a backpack with her too, and another bag she was carrying, and she was just going to the airport. So I'm taking her to the airport. She's catching a flight out of here. She was from Ohio, I think, somewhere in the Midwest. I think it was Ohio. And she just got in and just started talking to me right away, and it was interesting. She just started talking to me kind of like, you know, like I was family. Like she just, you know, like I was her grandkid or something like that. Because she was saying how she, I think had maybe been to Vegas once before. Or no, she never had, but she's seen in pictures. Because she was like, yeah, she was, you know, I've never been to Vegas. You know, I've seen stuff in pictures. She's like, but it's just not the same when you see it in person. And she talked about how she was walking all up and down the strip and her feet were getting tired and she didn't realize how long the strip was. And you know, I think it was a colder time of year, so she didn't expect it to be that cold in Las Vegas. And she said she had some like throat issues, health issues, so it made those worse. And she started talking to me about like her family back home, telling me about like her friends, and talked about she was leaving Vegas to go to San Diego to see a friend who she went to high school with. And she was like, oh yeah, I haven't seen, you know, her friend Susan or whatever her name was. She's like, oh, I haven't seen her you know, in like 8 years, and she missed our 50th high school reunion last year. I was like, holy shit. So by my guess, this lady is probably 67, 68 years old in my car, and she was talking about her husband and trips they had taken together, and talked about her kids and where her kids are living now. I mean, but just got in the car, just kind of started talking right away. I just mostly like nodded my head and listened. You know, I may have asked just a couple questions, but I mean, it was a short ride just from Mandalay Bay to the airport, but it just stood out to me because, I mean, it was just nice. Like, I don't know how else to say. I mean, she got in, I mean, she said she was talking to me like I was family, like I was, you know, her kid or her grandkid or something like that. And, you know, got out of the airport, got out of the car, got all her luggage out, helped her put her backpack on. She asked me to tighten the straps in her backpack because it was heavy and she's little. And it was like pulling her back, so I like tried to tighten the straps to get the backpack to stay higher so it wasn't like hurting her back so much. But she was just like the nicest, like sweetest little old lady. And it was, you know, for all the rides you get where some people are just totally platonic, they don't talk at all. Some you just talk to a little bit, you know, here and there. Sometimes you pick up someone you really can't talk to because they don't speak English. Or you're driving and you get people who are like drunk and it makes for funny stories. This one stood out just because she just got in the car and it was just like, you know, instant connection in such a nice, like, just warm way. She just had the warm, welcoming energy about her that I don't even think she realized she had. So that ride just stood out in my mind. And like I said, it wasn't like a funny story or anything, but, you know, that's one of the things that makes it cool when you drive for Uber, you drive for Lyft. You never know what kind of people you're going to come across. So sometimes you might be laughing with them. Sometimes you might just be sitting there listening to them talk. And, you know, you feel like family just for a few minutes. That's it for this video, guys. I'm Jacob. This is my life in Vegas.